Lovely. Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we have a guest who is the embodiment of reinvention, resilience, and creativity. Yeah. From gracing the Broadway stages in productions like Beauty and the Beast, Wicked, and The Little Mermaid, to becoming a sought after life coach and social media maven. So, Bret Shuford. So, welcome to the show, Bret.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Lovely, lovely. So, Bret, like before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Bret has done it all. And along the way, he built something even more powerful, his personal brand, which we often struggle to get our personal brand, right? But building a personal brand is more than just a buzzword. And it's about owning your story, amplifying your purpose, and stepping into your authentic confidence. So, how does one go from performing under Broadway lights to becoming an online powerhouse and an advocate for LGBTQ families? So, Brett's got the answers. So, get ready for an inspiring conversation about self discovery, creativity, and the confidence. So, welcome to the show, Brett.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited, and I think the way you've introduced me is quite charming. So thank you.
Lovely, lovely. That's great. And so Brit, I have to say that from Broadway to coaching, and also from painting to social media, you have built such a multifaceted brand. Uh, did you always know that you would branch out in so many ways? If you can share, yeah.
I don't think I always knew that I would end up doing so many things. I was very one-track minded growing up, wanting to be on Broadway. That was all I really pursued up until I graduated from college. But it was graduating from college when I needed to learn how to pay my
Mhm.
rent, which I had never had to really totally figure out, um, and living in New York City, which is incredibly expensive, that I started to, most people would just get a job at a restaurant or get a job doing things that would just make them some
Mhm.
money while they pursued their dreams. But I
Right.
would get jobs at restaurants or temping or whatever. And I hated those jobs so much that I knew that I could make money doing something else. I just didn't know what it was because I hadn't thought about it. And so
Mhm.
I explored, I tested, I was like, well, I could do this, I could do that. So I would try things. I was willing to fail. I was willing to try things and push myself out of my comfort zone and see if it took off or if I enjoyed it or if I could make money doing it. And I wasn't so afraid of what other people needed to define me as, which I think is
Mhm.
something that I see a lot of people struggle with. They're like, well, I need people to know that I'm this. So if I go do these other things, they're going to be
Mhm.
confused. And I was like, no, I'm still Brett. Regardless of what I'm doing, I'm still a human being. I'm still me. It's just I want to find ways to thrive and live my life still being creative and not just giving my time away to somebody else.
Mhm. I agree. I agree on this. Yeah. So, and also on this, I have to say this that you have spent 25 years performing in some of the Broadway's biggest productions. For many, that's a kind of dream in itself. But you took it further. Carving out your own unique space as a coach and an entrepreneur. So, how did you navigate the fear of stepping outside the comfort zone of a traditional Broadway career? What do you say?
Yeah, so most people when you're pursuing a career on Broadway are sort of waiting for someone to hire them. They're trying to figure out how to get casting directors or whomever to see them as worthy of being hired. And there is something to that, right? Like this any industry, you have to kind of play the game and know what's happening and know what people want and try to bring that into the space so that you become the most desirable person in the room. And while there's something to that, when you're auditioning as an actor, you're not getting paid for that time auditioning. So I was always like scrambling to learn the right song or get the right thing, write material together, to then, potentially not get hired for something, and I would just end up feeling sort of disappointed.
Okay.
And in order to step out of my comfort zone, I noticed even when I was working on Broadway that people, especially backstage, would get very judgmental of people who did things that were empowering themselves outside of the industry. And let's say when social media started to appear, people were making content. And I would see people making content in a way that was very unapologetic, just showing up on social media. And then I would hear people who were not as courageous to show up online judge those people. And it was interesting the way the resistance that those people had, because yeah, maybe the person who was showing up online wasn't as talented or wasn't as good, but they were so much more brave to
Yeah.
show up and challenge the norms. And
Mm.
so I started to go, wow, okay, well, what's that resistance, and why are people so afraid to let other people shine and maybe even go, oh, that's impressive, that's brave. What if I could do the same thing? And so I think really a lot of people start waiting, like they want to get the Broadway show, they want to get the credits, they want to get the recognition, and then they'll have a social media presence, and then people will know who they are. And in my brain, I was like, what if actually it's the opposite? What if I build a social media presence and I just am 100% myself online, and that inspires other people to show up for themselves? And then I have that career. I mean, what if it doesn't have to be the way everyone says that it is?
Okay. Amazing. I mean, that's really a great point to think about. Yeah, definitely. So, and okay, like uh, one thing that stands out about your brand is the authenticity. So you didn't just build a following, but you just build a community, especially through Broadway husbands.
Mhm.
Um, so how important has community building been to your journey? And from there, like, what advice would you give to someone who is kind of struggling right now to find the people online? What do you say?
It's a great question.
Mhm.
Starting Broadway Husbands really wasn't necessarily about building a community in my mind. When we started it, it was really almost like a game. It was like, okay, let's play. Like, let's just see what happens if we start to create these things, because I saw people doing it and I was inspired by them. And as we started to create the content and experiment to see how the algorithms worked and what audiences liked, I started to really it started to touch something deeper in me of, I don't want to build something superficial. I don't want to build something that just creates aspiration and makes people feel like they're missing something. In fact, I want to do the opposite. I wanted to create something that made people feel like they belong, that they're exactly where they're supposed to be, and that we see them. And I think that influencer space can feel like there's always this gap between who you are and where you want to be. And I wanted to remove that gap and be like, hey, you're right where you're supposed to be, and we want you to be with us.
Mm.
And that to me was the difference between community. And I think more than now, more than ever, I think we need more community. We need people to feel more connected. I think there's too much splitting up, there's too much division, there's too much, and social media can so
Mm.
easily do that. I think that if
Mm.
we leaned, especially in Broadway Husbands, if we leaned more into that gap that it tends to happen on social media, where like, hey, you need to own this product, or you need to look like us in order to really be worthy, we probably would have millions of followers. And
Mm.
I just don't want to. perpetuate that. I want to actually change that. And
Mm.
so it's harder to do it. It's hard not to do the thing that is mainstream, but it's so much more satisfying because the people who do come into our lives
Mm.
online or in person, they the person that they see online is the same person that they see in person. We're not any different. And that for me is the most important thing. And that's authenticity.
Understood. That's amazing. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and also like social media played a huge role in your journey. So, even helping you forge the connections to Walt Disney's legacy, and in an age where personal brands thrive on the social platforms, what do you think is the key to standing out and maintaining that authenticity online?
Well, I think being in the moment, being organic is super important in order to maintain that authenticity online. I think
Mhm.
if there's wildfires in Los Angeles, which there were
Mhm.
in January, and you're making a post trying to sell someone an air fryer, you're a little bit out of touch, right? And I think that really listening and reading the room, but part of that also requires that you be fully present with yourself and know what you need. Because the chances are pretty good that if you need something like emotionally, if you need to laugh, if you need to cry, if you need to feel like there's a solution to something,
Mhm.
then someone else is looking for that as well. So if you really lean into what's coming up for you, you can then say, okay, how do I turn that into a piece of content for my
Mhm.
audience to help serve them? Because that
Mhm.
keeps it real, that keeps it authentic, and keeps it relatable. But so many
Mhm.
people are really trying to read the minds of their audience instead of really kind of doing it the opposite, going inside out instead of outside in. And the other thing I think is really important is letting go of data. Like too many people are stuck on insights and am I going to lose followers? Am I going to gain followers? And is this going to go viral? You can't control so many of those things. So if you put connection way before anything else in your content, you're going to find yourself thriving. You're going to enjoy making content more, and you're going to see that it matches who you are in life.
Understood. So, like, confidence is also something which is a kind of recurring theme in your journey. So, how has building a personal brand transformed your confidence? I mean, not just professionally, but personally.
Well, confidence is something that most people think they're supposed to have before they start. For me, and this is something I teach through my program and working with my one-on-one clients. In fact, if anyone's interested, you can go to my website. I have a free map that will teach you how to build your own personal brand. But for me, the most important thing was understanding that the action comes before the confidence. What I mean by that is so many people are waiting to feel ready. They think they have to take that extra course. They think they have to like have the map of the content out. They have to know exactly what they're going to post. It has to be perfect before they click post. And the opposite is true. You have to click post and then you're going to start to feel ready. You have to make the content and then you're going to know. It's sort of like that scene in Indiana Jones when he goes to walk the bridge to, the invisible bridge. And you have to kind of take the leap and know that the net will appear. And that's hard for so many people. And they look at what I've built online and they go, "You're so confident." I'm like, "I'm not that confident. It's taken me time to feel good about this, but I showed up anyway."
Understood. Yeah. Yeah. And also I have to say that your journey is still evolving, and especially with your pursuit of a master's in themed environments. I mean, that's amazing. So, what's next for you? So, I mean, if you can share.
Yeah, so I'm launching the new Show Up Club, which is my monthly membership to help people, push them past their comfort zone, showing up online and reaching their creative goals. So that's happening right now. With Broadway Husbands, we're launching a new podcast in April called From Husbands to Dads. So we're getting ready for that. I just got my first publishing deal for a children's book that's coming out next year. And so there's a lot going on. It's all super creative and fun. And if you're interested in being part of a community of thriving creators, come join us.
Lovely. That's really lovely. And uh, is there a dream project or collaboration that you'd love to manifest in the future?
A dream project that I love to manifest. I wanna be speaking on stages all over the world. Like I would love to be inspiring audiences as a motivational speaker and helping people show up more fully in their lives and online on social media. So it's hard to say that there's one collaboration. I would just love to be having 5, 10, 15 spots on my calendar booked to get on a plane and go somewhere and inspire thousands of people.
Lovely. That's amazing. That's really, really amazing. And also, one advice if you'd like to share for the listeners.
Yeah, one advice I would like to share is really the understanding that you don't need to follow other people's rules. So if you want to have a healthy mind, don't allow yourself to buy into what the norms are for everyone. You have to make that decision for yourself of what's healthy for you. If you want to pursue something, other people, especially when it comes to the online space or anything as a creative, you are a pioneer. And other people are going to tell you all the reasons why it can't work because they've never actually had the courage to go and do that thing themselves. So staying healthy really to me in building a business and being an entrepreneur requires that have a baseline for yourself of what's healthy for you and not base your health off of what works for other people.
Exactly. That's amazing. Lovely. So, I mean, what a conversation, Brett. I mean, your journey proves that personal branding is more than just a self-promotion, but it's all about embracing your story, connecting with your community, and stepping into the fullest version of you. So, that's really amazing. And for the listeners, if you are looking for inspiration on building the confidence, stepping outside your comfort zone, or just figuring out how to share your unique story with the world, then take a page from Brett's book. You can follow him on social media, check out Broadway Husbands, and dive into his coaching for more insights. I'll put all the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And to everyone who is tuning or who will be tuning, your personal brand is already inside you. So you just have to give yourself permission to own it. And with this hope, until next time, stay inspired, stay true to yourself, and keep creating a healthy mind and healthy life. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.